I publicly confronted my male friend for being awful in bed when he asked me to validate his supposed prowess. And my husband initially thought I was harsh until he understood the true nature of his friend's behavior toward us. One of my friends, a 25-year-old guy I'll call Jake, 25M, is quite the charmer and undeniably attractive. Jake is obsessed with his player reputation, constantly bragging about the number of women he's slept with and his high score. I shared a house with him for a while, and whenever he brought a woman home, he'd make a point to show her off by introducing her to everyone, spend a brief 15 to 20 minutes in his room, then emerge strutting around in his underwear or completely naked. Yes, he actually did that. I'd often ask why he was out here when he had a stunning woman waiting in his room. This was typical behavior for him, and despite his arrogance, we maintained a friendship. After about 8 months of living together, following a night of heavy drinking, Jake and I ended up sleeping together. To be blunt, it was dreadful. The worst sexual experience I'd ever had. Jake was well endowed, something I already knew from his shameless parading, but he seemed to believe that alone made him a master in bed. The encounter was a disaster. No foreplay, the room's lights and TV blaring, and he just clumsily pushed himself into me. It felt like he was racing to get it over with as fast as possible. After about 10 minutes of awkward, relentless thrusting, he was done. The next morning, I was incredibly sore. Not because it was good, but because I wasn't aroused at all, and his size made it worse. Yet Jake took my soreness as proof of his stellar performance. That was a few years ago, and even now, Jake hasn't changed. He still treats women like trophies, moving from one to the next without care. Fast forward to recently. My husband and I threw a backyard barbecue since social gatherings are now permitted. Jake, part of our mutual friend group, attended. Predictably, he started boasting about his conquests, even humiliating another woman at the party by announcing he'd slept with her. Then he turned to me, asking me to back up his claim of being phenomenal in bed. Embarrassed, but also furious that he'd brought me into it, I bluntly told him he was terrible, the worst I'd ever experienced. I detailed our encounter, explaining that he treated sex like a checklist item, not something meant to be enjoyable or mutual. For the record, I didn't orgasm. Shockingly, 2 other women at the party echoed my sentiments, describing similar disappointing experiences with him. Jake got defensive and stormed off, clearly enraged. My husband, who knew about my past with Jake from years before we met, said I was too harsh, especially since Jake leans heavily into his sex god persona. I disagreed, believing it was time someone called Jake out and maybe pushed him to improve. The guys in our group thought I was out of line, but the women backed me up. Edit 1. Wow, this got way more attention than I expected. Thanks for the comments and awards from kind strangers. To clarify, many have asked why I was friends with Jake. Back then, he could be a decent person at times, despite his obnoxious exterior. After moving out, we drifted apart, but stayed in the same extended friend circle. So we're civil, but not close. Edit 2. I'm confused by people misreading the story. To be clear, I didn't cheat on my husband. Jake and I hooked up years ago during university when I was single. We're not friends now, but our mutual connections mean we occasionally cross paths. Info. My friend group, close, mutual, and extended, knew each other from university. I'm British, but now live in the US. I attended uni from ages 18 to 21. At 19, I did a year abroad in the States, where I met my husband. Jake, an American, was an exchange student at my British university, and we lived together because I responded to a last-minute house share ad after dorms filled up. I met my husband, also American, through Jake, who was one of my few contacts in the US. My British university and his American university had a partnership. I met my husband a year after sleeping with Jake, and my husband knew about it because Jake brought it up when we first met. Jake and I bonded over parties and weed back then, but looking back, I'm appalled by our friendship and how he treated me. Update. Reading comments from women praising my honesty has been so uplifting. The support has empowered me to stand up for myself more. I showed my husband this post, and after seeing the feedback and comments calling him out for not supporting me, he was upset. We had a long overdue talk where I explained how humiliating Jake's behavior was and how I refused to apologize for calling him out after enduring his nonsense. I asked why he was okay with Jake's remarks, which embarrassed him too. I pointed to a funny comment suggesting I should have hyped Jake up to appease my husband, which made us both laugh, but also highlighted how I'd been brushing off my discomfort for too long. I told my husband I wanted distance from his friends, close and mutual, because they've never respected me, especially now, as some guys are messaging me with insults like bitch or slut. I told him if he wouldn't stand by me, I'd leave. I value myself too much to tolerate being publicly disrespected while he stands by. My husband admitted he was embarrassed but stayed quiet because he's non-confrontational and Jake is the group's leader. He revealed Jake had made comments about me before, which I hadn't known. Furious, I said cutting ties with this toxic group was best for us, and if he wanted to stay Jake's follower, I wouldn't stop him. Thankfully, my husband chose me. He apologized for his inaction and agreed our lives would be better without these friends. He realized their disrespect toward me was also disrespect toward him. If they respected him, they wouldn't humiliate us both. I didn't apologize to Jake, and never will. Before blocking him, I sent a detailed message explaining why he was bad in bed, emphasizing that a big penis doesn't equal skill, and urging him to stop treating women like objects to flaunt. I told him his treatment of female friends is deplorable, and he needs to reflect on his character, not just his performance. I've informed Jake of his shortcomings, so if he continues, that's on him. While women should communicate openly in bed, it's not our job to fix men. They need to pay attention. Thanks again for the support, awards, and comments. To all the Jakes out there, you're not as great as you think. Sincerely, women everywhere. Next story. I gave my boyfriend's devout Catholic mom a humorous cookbook called "Oh No, Too Many Mushrooms" as a thoughtful Mother's Day gift, but her reaction revealed a deeper reason for her dislike of me. My boyfriend, 36M, and I, 34F, have been dating for just over a year. His mother is polite, but distant with me. I've attended family events where her 7 sons curse freely, and as a theater enthusiast and military kid, I assumed she was fine with casual language since she didn't mind theirs. I was wrong. I wanted to make her feel special for Mother's Day, especially since my boyfriend admitted he's terrible at picking gifts. Gift giving is my love language, and I'm good at finding thoughtful presents on a budget. I chose a quirky cookbook set, inspired by a funny moment we shared. At my boyfriend's birthday party, she jokingly complained about having too many mushrooms and not knowing what to do with them, even laughing about whether people thought she was pushing mushrooms, if you get my meaning. I found it hilarious, so when my boyfriend asked for gift ideas, I suggested a cookbook called "Oh No, Too Many Mushrooms," part of a series with titles like "Too Many Onions." He loved the idea, tying it to our shared laugh. I also got her flowers, a painting I made of her cat, loose-leaf teas, and more. We couldn't attend Mother's Day dinner because I had COVID, and my boyfriend was recovering from the flu. His brother delivered the gift. That night, she called, furious, saying I mocked her love of cooking with a vulgar and immoral gift. I tried calling and texting to apologize, but she didn't respond. In June, she finally texted, accepting my apology but warning I was on thin ice and should focus on being good to her son. My boyfriend was baffled. Then, his dad called before Father's Day, warning me not to give him anything tasteless and suggesting a gift card to his favorite restaurant instead. I bought the gift card but wondered if I was really so awful. They're Catholic, but they'd accepted me as a pansexual agnostic woman dating their son. I'd heard cursing and worse at their gatherings. So where did I go wrong? Update 1. I tried to stay positive for Father's Day, following instructions with a $50 gift card to the dad's favorite restaurant chain. At the dinner, I stayed quiet, ignoring subtle jabs from my boyfriend's mom, like when she commented on classless losers while staring at me during a conversation about rude customers. I sipped my drink and studied the menu, staying composed. During gift opening, the dad snorted at the gift card, praising the book and wallet my boyfriend and I gave together as thoughtful, implying the gift card was lazy. My boyfriend clarified that the gift card was from him, the book was my idea. I'd remembered his dad's favorite series, and we both paid for the wallet, though I covered the inscription. His dad ignored this and moved on. Later, the brothers and their partners wanted to keep the night going at a bar. As I changed from heels to flats in the parking lot, his mom asked if I couldn't afford shoes and implied I'd convinced everyone to ditch the parents for the bar. I hadn't even known about the plan until one brother mentioned his movie tickets. The group defended me, saying I seemed fine all night, not angry as she claimed. I went to the bar with the partners while my boyfriend stayed behind with his family. When we got home, he seemed defeated and didn't want to talk. I got a vague voicemail from his dad thanking me for the gifts and saying, "We don't really think that way. Sorry for the misunderstanding." I'm dreading our next conversation, especially since my boyfriend's working late on his social media business. I'm at a restaurant waiting until he's done at 7:30 p.m., not looking forward to this. Update 2. I spoke with my boyfriend Ben last night. He was calmer but still upset, not at me but at the situation spiraling. He apologized for his parents' behavior, saying it's unlike how he was raised and he's never seen them act this way. He admitted they just don't like me. I asked if it's because I'm not white, as some suspected. He explained what happened after I left for the bar. The brothers' partners defended me, and the eldest, Derek, told everyone to go to the bar. His wife, Crystal, told him to handle their parents or they would. The mom tried to flip it, claiming I was bullying her, and the dad was just defending her like a man. Ben called her treatment of me unfair, citing past incidents. Derek pointed out it started after our 6-month anniversary. The brothers realized their mom had made a comment to Ben over the phone, surprised we'd lasted so long. When Ben joked about marrying me, she called him childish and warned that those people are promiscuous, implying my pansexuality. The family confronted her, and she cried, claiming she was protecting Ben, her youngest. He told her the only way to support him was to accept me and apologize or face consequences. Derek told her if we cut contact, he wouldn't blame us and asked his dad to take her home. Ben said it's my call how to proceed. He's open to low contact, LC, to see if they change, or we can skip family events and spend time with my family. He just wants to keep texting or calling them for birthdays, including his mom's this summer. I showed him the dad's text, which he thought wasn't a real apology and hinted at something worse. We ended the night watching The Great North and drinking, but I need to focus on a big meeting today and we'll decide later. Update 3. I got home, and Ben's sister-in-law, Crystal, 26F, was there picking up donated items for her education job. We talked, and she brought up the family drama. Ben had shared a screenshot of the dad's text in a family group chat, excluding the parents. The text said, "Please call me back, OP, this isn't what you think. For Ben's sake, talk to me. I'm sorry it happened, but no need to fight. Call back." Everyone agreed it wasn't a real apology and suggested bigotry. Possibly racism. I'm half black, half Hispanic, they're Scots-Irish. Or panphobia due to my pansexuality. The siblings and partners decided to join me at Juneteenth celebrations today. Some have work. Planning to post photos on Facebook where the parents are active to show support. We're also gathering without the parents for July 4th, not to exclude them, but to show their negative energy isn't welcome. Ben's going LC and I've blocked his parents. We'll give them a month to change. Ben asked if he could contact one of the cookbook authors, I know her loosely, about this, and I said sure. The siblings want to buy the cookbook series to display when the parents visit or post online, partly to spite them. For now, I'm okay and excited for Ben's family to meet mine at Juneteenth.